My name is Vladimir, and I welcome you to my channel 2 Wars. For the first time, whole intact Royal Tigers fell into the hands of Soviet soldiers in August 44 in the Polish village of Ogolandov on the Vistula. This capture was a consequence of a disastrous battle for the Germans against the heavy Soviet IS-2 tanks, during which their 501st Heavy Tank Battalion lost as many as 12 tanks. Later, 2 of them with serial numbers 502 and 102, command vehicles with an additional 6th crew member and a reduced ammunition load, were left on the battlefield in operational condition, and even with detailed technical documentation inside. These tanks were sent to the testing ground in Kubinka for detailed study. One of them is still an exhibit in the Patriot Park today. If you haven't been, I recommend you go and take a look. The second one, after the operational tests, was subjected to the fire of Soviet artillery to examine the quality of its armor. After that, it was naturally disposed of. What surprised Soviet engineers during the testing of this flagship model of German tank construction? The Royal Tiger turned out to be not as reliable and not as heavily armored as it was thought. But let's take everything in order. Details will follow, and we will soon return to the topic of the video, but first, a brief announcement. We all know very well that armored vehicles, to put it mildly, played a crucial role on the battlefields of World War II. But what do we know about this armored equipment? The Mouse tank could move underwater. Soviet tanks wanted to be dropped to the ground without parachutes. And the largest tank battle was not Prokhorovka. In December, my book Cold Armor, The Best Tanks of World War II Foot, will be released. This is my first book, written in an accessible language without the dullness typical of my channel, so if you watch my videos, you will definitely enjoy it. The book Cold Armor is divided into 6 parts. The first part is dedicated to the unpredictable process of tank creation. The second discusses their expert evaluations and tests, and the third contains interesting facts about Soviet and German tanks, as well as information on unique and rare models of armored vehicles. The fourth part is about the real combat encounters of these machines. The fifth part is entirely dedicated to the veterans who fought in these tanks on both sides of the front. Well, the sixth one is a kind of bonus for the curious. There, I have gathered information that even a person interested in history is likely not aware of. The books Cold Armor are of very good quality, so they can be used as an excellent gift for history lovers. I will leave the links to order the book in the description below the video. The trophy Tigers ended up on a railway platform, and their train took them to the Soviet Union, where they traveled 110 kilometers on their own to this very D station. On the tank with number 102 during this run, the bearing of the left guide will hub failed, and the right side of the V-shaped engine overheated. Both tanks quickly experienced overheating not only in the engine compartment. A significant number of the track links simply broke apart. The tracks themselves quickly lost tension while in motion. Every 10 to 15 kilometers, it was necessary to stop and tighten them. In Kubinka, the right side transmission of the 102nd tank jammed, was disassembled. Turned out that it was completely destroyed. From that moment on, the 502nd Royal Tiger became a donor, from which parts and components were removed for the repair of its counterpart. Even the first 35-kilometer test run on a dry resettlement road, the tank, which had only traveled 444 kilometers on the speedometer before these tests, was unable to complete the run without issues. Oil was constantly leaking from the right fan drive, which required regular stops for inspection and refueling. From a technical standpoint, the most serious complaints from Soviet engineers were about the flimsy drive transmissions, unreliable drive wheels, and the quickly failing track pins. The fuel consumption was simply monstrous. Over 90 kilometers of test runs on the range, the Royal Tiger consumed 860 liters of gasoline, almost 970 liters per 100 kilometers. BMW X5M takes a break.
Meanwhile, the heavy tank IS-2, under the same conditions, covered 135 kilometers on a single tank of fuel, consuming only 520 liters of diesel. The book stated that the Royal Tiger consumes 700 liters of gasoline per 100 kilometers on dirt roads.
The firing of the tank that underwent mobility tests was conducted at the range using armor-piercing high-explosive 57mm, 76mm shells, as well as 100mm and 152mm shells, and German 75mm, 88mm shells. The result was unexpected. The Royal Tiger was the most armored tank of its time, with frontal armor measuring 120 to 150 millimeters, while the regular Tiger had only 65 to 100 millimeters. However, the quality of its manufacturing turned out to be very low. The armor of the Royal Tiger turned out to be too soft, and the weld seams were of insufficient quality, breaking apart from shell hits. But this fact indicated not constructive deficiencies, but significant problems in the German military industry with raw materials and supplies. Of course, there were quite a few. Transmission box of advanced design with automatic control drives, a turning mechanism distinguished by ease of control due to the use of hydraulic servos,
with reduced load on the friction elements, an air cleaning system for the engine, and a filter located directly above the carburetors. Automatic fire suppression in the engine compartment, electric battery heating, internal damping of the support rollers, and thermosiphon engine heating for winter conditions. Royal Tiger was a formidable weapon, easy to operate. However, it often broke down and did not have a large operational lifespan. The load from its weight proved too heavy for its engine, transmission, and chassis. What do you think? How good was this machine? Write your opinion in the comments, like, and subscribe to my channel. All of this will greatly help its promotion.